Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. WAMS and Mimecast are dedicated to your success and to provide you the best email security and archiving solution to keep you successful. Today, Adib Sarakby from Mimecast is joining us, and we will be discussing recent attacks and the current cybersecurity environment. Mimecast Targeted Threat Protection Solution. We will also demonstrate the solution live, and at the end, Adib will answer some of your questions. Please enter all questions in the designated area, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. Now, to briefly touch on who we are, WAMS has been providing law firms and businesses with computer consulting and support services since 1974. As one of the oldest and most respected law firm automation consultants and integrators in Southern California, WAMS continues its reputation for quality and service today by installing and maintaining computer systems for hundreds of law firms and businesses. We keep our implementation agreements friendly and flexible to take advantage of opportunities that will benefit both the customer and WAMS. From start to finish, WAMS cares about your business and wants to support you to be as successful as you can be. So why Mimecast? Given the integrity that we have built ourselves on, WAMS wouldn't recommend Mimecast to you if we didn't think it was the best solution. So a few reasons why WAMS chose Mimecast for you. The fact that we use Mimecast internally to protect our business. We have used McAfee and Proofpoint in the past, and both solutions fall short of our expectations in respect to Mimecast. And last but not least, Mimecast's unmatched search and archiving have provided us with the unique combination of security and convenience that we need to stay up and running for our clients. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Lori to tell us a little more about Mimecast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar. So as Ashley mentioned, I have Adib, who is one of our sales engineers. We're going to show you our live platform to kind of go over all of these targeted threat protection, all the ransomware attacks that we're seeing out in the industry today. Mimecast has state-of-the-art features as far as impersonation protect, URL protect, and attachment protect. Just a little bit about Mimecast. We are a unified email management platform. We are built from the ground up. Our developers built our own operating system. It's called MimeOS. So everything that we offer is homegrown. We don't acquire companies. We can provide your security, which is 100% antivirus, 99.5% anti-spam. We have a continuity feature, which is 100% email uptime that we have a financially backed SLA on. This is great for if you're an Office 365 customer and it goes down, if you're a local on-prem customer and you need to do routine maintenance or have any type of outages that may happen, your end users will still be able to send and receive messages in live time with our Outlook plugin, all of which we will show you in a little bit. Our archiving, we are the Gartner leading industry 2 years in a row for our archiving feature. We offer a financially backed 7-second SLA, one of the fastest in the industry. We have a mobile app that you can do all of our features and functionalities with. So if you have attorneys that are out on the go that are in court case and they need to find an email or something like that, they can use our Mimecast mobile app, which we'll be able to show you during this demonstration as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to Adib. He's going to show you kind of the architecture of Mimecast, how everything works, and then we're going to go into an actual live demonstration using our live environment here at Mimecast so you can see the actual platform. Then Ashley said at the end of the presentation we're going to go ahead and take some questions. So if you have something that you see that's interesting or you want to know a little bit more about, just write down the question and Ashley can see that at the end, and then she'll be moderating all the questions at the end.
All right, thank you, Lori. I'm going to go ahead and share out my screen here, and we will go ahead and put this into full screen. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of start by going ahead and going over the topography of Mimecast and how we operate within environments. As you can see here with Mimecast, we are the first point of entry and the last point of exit for any email entering or leaving your organization. what we do is we do an MX redirect, so we're able to intercept any of your email coming in from the internet. And then we're able to go ahead, bring that to the Mimecast cloud, which will perform all of our sanitation, archiving solutions that we have available, as well as the ability to go ahead and synchronize with your Active Directory here, and the ability to go ahead and have your email accessed from your mobile phone, whether it be iOS, Android, Windows, or even BlackBerry. We're able to go ahead and synchronize with your on-prem or cloud solutions via internal email here. As you can see, we're able to also then pass these emails out to the actual recipient, so this way they have a clean, safe copy of any emails that they were expecting. I'll go ahead and I'll go to the next slide here. And Mimecast at a glance is the total, one of the things that we really try to go ahead and emphasize is the Mimecast solution itself is able to reduce costs. We're really consolidating multiple solutions. We're reducing your infrastructure costs, as well as any administrative situations where you would need more, we'll say, staffing levels as far as IT goes. Employee-based pricing model, you know, where a lot of companies right now are charging not really based on how many numbers of people that we actually have, physical, real people, but any type of inbox, whether it be some sort of group or even a service account. Mimecast only charges per actual employees. We also reduce the risk. We have our industry-leading SLAs, which are 100% antivirus SLA. We also have a 99.5% spam SLA. And we also have 100% uptime SLA. We go ahead and we help out companies with compliances that they need to go ahead and achieve. And we also give them the ability to go ahead and have e-discovery in case of any legal situations were to arise. Another thing that Mimecast strives to do is improve our service levels. We're giving end users access to be able to go ahead and take charge of their email without having to go ahead and involve IT staff. We have easy to manage e-discovery as well for admins in case they ever need to go ahead and get a certain group of emails and be able to go ahead and present those in either a legal court standing or anything of that nature for the legal industry. We also have improved performance. Some of our improved performance that we have is really comes down to our SLAs that we offer. As Lori may have mentioned, that 7-second search SLA is industry leading. I can imagine that maybe sometimes when you're trying to use a different solution, you may have to really pull emails back from the archive in a timely fashion. Sometimes that's not necessarily the case, but with Mimecast, with that 7-second search SLA, we can guarantee that you'll have speedy search results and able to go ahead and perform your e-discovery with ease. And also, we seamlessly integrate with Outlook. We also seamlessly integrate on the web and your mobile devices. We have our Mimecast for Outlook plugin that sits right on top of Outlook. We also have the Mimecast personal portal, which is your online inbox. So if you're ever away from your desk or your computer or really traveling, maybe on vacation or something of that nature, you'd be able to go ahead and access your inbox with any computer with a web portal. Now, we also have the ability to go ahead and do the same for mobile, whether it be Android, iOS, BlackBerry, or Windows. We do have a full iOS model that I will be able to go ahead and show you today. I also want to go ahead and cover the main 3 points of Mimecast. Other than the fact that we reduce costs, reduce risk, improve service levels, our main bread and butter on this side is the security, archiving, and continuity aspect. Now, continuity itself, we'll go ahead and we'll address that first, is really something that really makes Mimecast shine in a way where we're able to go ahead and provide 100% uptime. What that means for end users and for admins alike is that they're not going to experience any outages as far as email goes. Regardless if your Exchange server goes down or maybe you're doing some sort of planned maintenance upgrade, with Mimecast, your end users will be able to go ahead and send and receive email regardless of any of these types of outages or maintenance windows. Because Mimecast already goes ahead and has that MX record pointing towards them, we're able to act as the man in the middle and make sure that that email gets delivered to the end user, regardless if it's internal or external. Now, these are always on in Outlook and our web and our mobile devices. This way, you can make sure that your end users always receive those emails themselves. We can go ahead and automate it from an administrative side, so this way it kicks in if it notices any outages with any of the services that we integrate with. We do spooling, so this way we can go ahead and make sure that you do receive that specific email. We do that twice just to really make sure that we can go ahead and have consistency across all platforms. And we also have automatic deduplication of any type of email that was sent in twice to make sure that we have the original copy of the message and there's nothing missing for the end user. As far as archiving goes, we're one of the industry leaders in archiving. We do have a bottomless archive. With Mimecast, you're able to go ahead and have all of your users, all of their data, all of their calendar events, folder structure, anything of that nature will be replicated within the Mimecast cloud so you can go ahead and recall it later. I'm sure we've all been in a situation where we may have deleted an email and we really needed to get that email back, or maybe we had some sort of corruption. Mimecast will basically be able to go ahead and make sure that all of your end users will always have access to any email that was ever sent to or from the specific individual, regardless if it was deleted or not. We also have our federated e-discovery search and legal hold options. Obviously, if it's a situation where we want to make sure that any type of e-discovery that was done, we want to be able to place it on a legal hold or litigation hold, as some call it, you'll have that ability in Mimecast to make sure it's never removed from the archive. We have granular retention policies. There may be a time where you want to make sure that certain users or certain groups, those emails do not exist anymore, depending on the nature of the business that you're in as well as your industry. We do folder-based replication, so this way, if you take time to go ahead and organize your inbox with rules and multiple folder structures, we're able to go ahead and make sure that's replicated into the archive as well. We also do folder-based retention. We have the 7-second search SLA that we previously mentioned before. And now we have the ability to go ahead and eliminate the need for any PST or any legacy archive solutions that are staying local on the actual client side as well as cloud. As far as security goes, Mimecast really shines in this department as we're able to go ahead and provide something and protection against targeted threats. And these targeted threats that we see most commonly are URLs, malicious attachments, and impersonation attacks. With URLs, we're able to go ahead and utilize our proprietary rewriting engine in-house. We can scan these particular URLs not only at the gateway, but in real time in case the hacker decides to use a delayed weaponization on the URL. Also, with attachments, we're able to go ahead and utilize sandboxing down to bare metal emulation, but also provide safe file copy transcriptions of any type of document that's coming in. So this way, as far as sandboxing goes, any type of delays that may be of a concern, you won't have to worry about. You can get a clean version of your attachment themselves. Also with impersonation, we're able to go ahead and now really prevent those phishing attacks, those whaling attacks that are becoming more and more prevalent in today's day and age. Regardless of whatever industry you're in, it's not really if you receive one of those, it's more of a when scenario. We do have that 100% antivirus SLA, the 99.5% spam SLA. We also have DLP and content examination policies. So this way, you can automate a lot of the policies that are available in Mimecast depending on what we find in a message, whether it be something of personal identification information, credit cards, social security numbers. Mimecast will be able to go ahead and flag on those particular messages. We also offer secure messaging. This is especially helpful when certain compliance requirements are needed for certain industries. We'll be able to go ahead and make sure those emails are encrypted across. We'll also have web portal access. Mimecast does offer that personal portal that we mentioned earlier. So this way, if you're ever out on the road or at another place that's just not the office, you can access that email. We also utilize something called large file send. I'm sure some people have probably ran into a situation where they could only send an attachment of a certain file size. With Mimecast, you're now able to bypass your Exchange or Office 365 limitations on your side, as well as even a recipient side, and make sure that these attachments up to 2 gigabytes are able to be transferred from point A to point B without any issues. Obviously, we go ahead and we have the ability to go ahead and add stationery and disclaimers to any of those emails to make sure that we can brand it whichever way you see fit to make sure that you are able to go ahead and have one unified look to your specific email organization and communications that go in and out. Now, this is something that I wanted to go ahead and show. Let me go ahead and show here. This is something that if you see this when you walk in and you have your cup of coffee in the morning and you see this on your computer screen, that's most likely going to be a bad day. This is the Petya Ransomware. And a little background on the Petya Ransomware. It's something that a lot of computers were infected with, not only in Europe, but also in the States. And you could imagine that if you see this on your computer, your data has now been encrypted with an encryption key. That encryption key has been uploaded to the hacker's original address that they intend to receive this information on. And now they are going to go ahead and hold your machine ransom. It's not necessarily the physical machine itself that they're holding for ransom, but it's the data on the device itself. Now that this information is now encrypted, in order to access your information, you will need to pay normally some sort of sizable amount of Bitcoin, and I don't know if anybody's keeping up to how much Bitcoin's worth, but the pricing is becoming quite large, and it's becoming quite expensive to purchase even. That being said, you now have to download a Tor browser, which is a 3-layer security protection browser. You'll have to go ahead and access the Onion browser, they call it, because of the multiple layers of security. And once you're able to access this browser, you'll go to one of these links that you see here in the middle, and you will have to go ahead and pay for a decryption key. One thing that we did hear about this latest Petya ransomware was that companies were paying the ransom, but they were not getting the decryption key back, therefore leaving their machine essentially a heavy paperweight, and all of their data is lost. Now, that being said, with Mimecast, we now have the ability to go ahead and protect against these particular types of documents and anything that comes into the organization that may potentially damage, whether it be financial, whether it be reputational. Mimecast is now able to go ahead and make sure that these particular viruses or attachments never make it onto your plane. I'm going to go ahead and take this approach as far as an end user side to really show you what it looks like as far as something that you may see on a daily basis, or emails that had come in and may have had some sort of malicious attacks. So I will go ahead and share out my Outlook page, which I already have the Mimecast for Outlook plugin installed on. Is everybody able to see my screen here? Beautiful. All right. Now that you can see my Outlook page, I'll go ahead and I'll show you a little bit of what TTP does and how targeted threat protection can benefit you and your company. You'll see here that we'll start off with URL Protect. I've went ahead and I've sent myself some malicious URLs and some clean URLs from a test account that I've created. Now, with Mimecast, I do know that this particular URL right here is a clean URL. You're able to see that this particular URL is rewritten. The reason why we go ahead and we rewrite these URLs is to make sure that we can go ahead and do the scan in real time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this URL to show you exactly what happens and what Mimecast does on any type of URL that's sent into your organization. As you can see here, it's redirected to the Mimecast user awareness page. Mimecast takes a multi-factor approach in the fact that we don't just protect your end users from malicious URLs. We also want to be able to go ahead and educate everyone to really be able to point out when they see any of these types of malicious emails that are coming in. We also go ahead and give some pro tips down here. Pretty standard stuff, really, if it's from somebody you don't recognize, if you weren't expecting the specific email from the person that sent it. Maybe the sender's name doesn't match their email address. Maybe it's not specifically addressed to you. Maybe it's pretty vague when it comes to the address itself. A lot of spelling, grammatical errors. The link destination appears. They'll be a little bit off, maybe a couple letters off. Maybe they sent it to a huge group of people in your company. Really what they're doing is they're playing the odds. As you can see here, we go ahead and we provide some other email information to really kind of go ahead and more empower the end user to know when this particular email is safe to go ahead and proceed, or should we remove ourselves from this website and exit. Regardless, all of these actions will be logged, so this way we can go ahead and audit later. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and accept this continue, and as you can see, it's going to go ahead and bring me to this website. I do know it's a safe website. It's just a pharmacy page. As you can see here, it loads the URL as the actual recipient had intended. Now, what if we do something such as a situation where it becomes more of a malicious URL? Now, we can go ahead and show you what that would look like, so this way you can see what it would look like on that end. Now, mind you, same page is going to pop up here, user awareness. The reason why we do this is because we really want to go ahead and educate the end user, as I mentioned before. it becomes a situation where if we're able to go ahead and cut down on help tickets that end users have to create and are able to go ahead and act on these on their own, this is really the best practice. And as you can see here, I'm able to go ahead and exit or accept as continue. Now, if I do click on accept as continue for this malicious URL, fear not, we'll still go ahead and protect the end user from ever reaching the website. Obviously, we hope they go ahead and they click exit to do the right thing, but in this particular case, we can't always expect that. Hackers are becoming trickier by the day when it comes to going ahead and getting these URLs through. You can see here that this access was blocked to this particular URL, just in the fact that it was a situation where we were able to go ahead and scan it and we found whether it was malicious JavaScript. Maybe they went ahead and they installed a keylogger, which is now going to record every keystroke that's done from that point on. Maybe it's just a way for the actual hacker to go ahead and extract any type of passwords that may have been saved in Chrome or Firefox, anything of that nature. Mimecast now is protected against that URL, and your users are safe. Now, to shift gears out of URL and maybe to go into something that more users have seen a little bit more of, we can go ahead and shift gears into Attachment Protect. Mimecast has the ability to go ahead and sandbox these particular attachments. And I guess the easiest way for me to explain sandboxing is a giant metal tank with a window on it. And you're able to go ahead and throw these attachments in there, and the attachment really only detonates its payload when it realizes it's on an end-user machine, whether it be a laptop or a desktop. It really wants to know, hey, am I on an end-user machine, and should I go ahead, expose my existence really, but really set off the attack. One thing that we've noticed in the last couple of years, a lot of malware and any type of malicious attachments that are coming into email organizations are able to tell when they're being present on an actual sandbox itself. Mimecast has taken that into consideration, and we're now able to go ahead and emulate not only just a machine, whether it be a laptop or a desktop, but all the way down to actual keyboard movement as well as mouse movement, to really go ahead and give that particular malware the idea that they are running on not necessarily a sandbox, but on an end-user machine. Now, with sandboxing, there usually is a delay. I will say that my time here at Mimecast, I've noticed max maybe a 2-3 minute delay, and that's at a very large file size. There are some companies out there that also do sandboxing. Their sandboxing can go upwards of 25-30 minutes, and if they're unable to get this particular attachment to explode, if you will, they'll go ahead and they'll deliver the attachment anyways. Mimecast realizes we are a need-it-now society. A lot of the times when we say we need those reports, I need them yesterday, that's really kind of what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So Mimecast now has the option to go ahead and create a saved copy of these attachments. Mind you, I went ahead and I sent myself just a regular XLS spreadsheet, but I didn't want to necessarily wait for the original document to sandbox. I wanted a clean version of that document, stripped out of any malicious code, but something that I can read. With Mimecast, we went ahead and we've done an actual study, and we show that around 81% of documents that traverse corporate email networks don't necessarily need to be edited. They really just need to be read, whether it be an HR resume or a wire transfer that needs to be signed off on. Mimecast has went ahead and basically given the ability to now have a high-res PDF version of these documents, so this way you can have something on demand, but at the same time fully safe and stripped of any malicious macro codes. This brings me to the next step of targeted threat protection, and this one I find especially fascinating, and I'm going to go ahead and be fully transparent here. With Mimecast, back in 2015, we did receive an email, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here so this way you can see what had happened. It's one of the oldest attacks in the book, and what I mean by that is it's something called typosquatting. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you what that is now. As you can see here, Peter Campbell, this is our CFO. Peter Fondini was our controller at the time. You can see here pretty standard payment request. You can see, hey, Peter, to Peter, we are looking for a wire transfer up almost upwards of 50 grand. We need you to process this to professional service expenses. Send me a confirmation when completed. This ought to have been sent yesterday. So you can see here they went ahead and they've indicated a number value. They went ahead and they've indicated a sense of urgency to hopefully make it so Peter here doesn't do his due diligence and really check to see who this is coming from, but also he's asking for a confirmation, really to know when the hacker, this gentleman right here, or the person pretending to be this gentleman, to go ahead and know when this transfer was made so they can go ahead and do that extraction of funds that were deposited. Now, Peter Campbell, I know his email address is pcampbell@mimecast.com. This hacker went ahead and registered a fake domain to go ahead and say, hey, Mimecast.com. I'm sure a lot of you right now, the wheels are turning, your eyebrows are going up. You may have not have seen an attack like this before. If you look very closely, now mind you, I'm zooming in quite a bit on my machine here. This is only 1 pixel off from being an M. What they do is they take a lowercase r and a lowercase n, and when you slam those up next to each other at a regular view here, which is just 100%, to the regular naked eye, that doesn't look like Mimecast, that looks like Mimecast. This particular email domain was actually spun up. They utilize a stolen credit card, which usually only means they have only a certain amount of days to go ahead and spin off that particular attack campaign. With Mimecast, we went ahead and we said we really need to go ahead and be able have a way to be able to address these types of attacks. And back in 2015, this email made it into our organization, and this was one of the kickstarters to say we need to do something as far as targeted threats go. And this is kind of the birthplace of targeted threat protection, if you will. Mimecast is now able to go ahead and scan on these actual attacks, which we refer to as typosquatting, being that not many other security companies out there are doing that. We're able to utilize something called a distance algorithm that really just checks to say how many letters off from our registered internal domain, Mimecast.com, is Mimecast.com. That's 2 letters off, so we're able to do a flag on that. We're also able to now flag on email domains that have been sending mail for less than 7 days. This is usually a telltale sign that this email domain was recently spun up and they're going to go ahead and run a spoof campaign. Mimecast takes it a step further. We're able to go ahead and look for key terms in emails to really kind of go ahead and mitigate these from ever even reaching the end user inbox. So this way we could stop it at the gateway. Now, with Mimecast and targeted threat protection as a whole, we're able to also do our archiving piece, which we utilize a journaling connector. And normal internal to internal email traffic would normally bypass traditional security as well as archiving solutions. And really what that means is with Mimecast, we're now able to change all that. Whether a machine gets compromised internally, whether an employee may be leaving and they want to go ahead and do some damage on their way out, Mimecast is now able to protect that email that was once not able to be protected and really make sure that no malicious macro code is sent between employees, whether it be by accident or on purpose. We're able to go ahead and prevent any type of malicious URLs from being transferred. And we're now able to go ahead and really complete the targeted threat protection full circle. Now that's targeted threat protection in a nutshell. Our archiving piece obviously is something to definitely talk about. We have a 7-second search SLA. Within Mimecast, you're able to go ahead and access that from right here within the Mimecast for Outlook plugin. But you also have the ability to go ahead and do it from our Mimecast personal portal. And as you can see here, I have the ability to go ahead and access all of my folders just as I normally would, whether it be my archive folders, whether it be my calendar, any other special features that we may have, whether it be my moderated on hold, my personal on hold. We also have large file send. If you want to go ahead and compose a new message, you'd be able to simply by going ahead and utilizing LFS. You can go ahead and strip and link attachments out of a document. You could even send this securely using our encryption in our Mimecast cloud. You can set document conversion. Maybe you want this to be turned into a PDF. You could even select a special email stationery, or maybe you want to go ahead and put certain disclaimers in the email that you're sending out. With Mimecast, all of this can be automated, so there's no manual intervention from the end user. That is definitely one of our PowerPoints that we have, and we're able to go ahead and make sure that your users can go ahead and operate as normal. I guess it's one of those situations where if we can go ahead and introduce a solution that does it all and make it so you barely have to go ahead and do any extra steps, that's really what Mimecast wants to do, to make it as easy as an adoption process as possible. So this way you can go ahead, take advantage of our full features, and not have to worry about a grocery list of steps that you would have to take. Now, one thing that I do want to do is share out my screen from my mobile device. I've recently was able to go ahead and get a software that was able to go ahead and show my Mimecast mobile app from my iPhone on my computer screen, and I'm going to go ahead and share that out now so you can go ahead and see what that looks like. And as you can see here, I'm able to now go ahead and show you what it looks like from my archive folders from my actual Mimecast mobile app. As you can see here, there's a picture of me at the top. It's not the best picture. I apologize, everyone. But we have the inbox. We have a very similar Outlook to what you see on the left-hand side here, and even what you would be seeing in Outlook itself. You can see here all of my folders have been replicated. I have the ability to go ahead and do archive search. I have the ability to even do advanced searching. If I want to go ahead and maybe even create a new inbox, but also have the ability to go ahead and have all that functionality that I have from within the Mimecast for Outlook plugin or the personal portal, you can see that we're able to do that here. I can strip and link files, I can send securely, I can convert those files, I can even add stationery, and we have all of those options, advanced or regular, to make it as easy as possible for the end user to go ahead and have the ability to go ahead and really have the option to access this from any type of scenario that they're in, regardless if it's in, whether it be on the road, if they're not at their machine, they'll be able to go ahead and have this option to have access at all times. All right. Any other questions so far? You can please feel free to go ahead and type those into this question pane, and we'll go ahead and we'll open it up. If there's anything else that we can go ahead and address on this side that maybe I didn't cover, or maybe you want me to go a little bit deeper into, I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you, Adib.
Not a problem, Ashley.
My apologies.
No problem.
So let's take a look at the first question here. So why aren't these attacks captured in regular security filtering?
That's a great question, Ashley. The reason why these attachments are making it through and malicious URLs are making it through nowadays is because hackers are getting smart. And what I mean by that is a lot of them, they make a lot of money. And what I mean by that is these attacks that they send out, whether it just be a link that you would click or a link that we scan, they're able to go ahead and generate revenue based on those. So we're really going ahead and we're trying to make sure that we can go and prevent against these, because every day that goes by that we go ahead and we do a prevention or some sort of protection, the hacker has more of an incentive to go ahead and try to come up with a new evasion tactic. Some of the evasion tactics that we're seeing that are becoming more and more common today are delayed weaponization. More so, the best example I can give, and I think everybody can probably relate to this, is if I was to send you an email, me being a hacker, at 8 o'clock at night and you've already left the office, and I send you that particular URL, and that URL is not weaponized, it just goes to a blank website, or even a website with a simple picture on it, nothing special, no malicious code. Traditional security software is going to go ahead and scan it, and it's going to say, this is clean. Go ahead and drop it in the end user's inbox. Now, mind you, that link now resides in the inbox itself. But while you were sleeping, before you come into work the next day, I went ahead and I bypassed your gateway security, and I've weaponized that URL to go ahead and install a keylogger, but also to inject JavaScript code into the browser, so this way I can extract all of your saved passwords out of Chrome and Firefox. And I know, some people are guilty of, saving those passwords in one of the browsers. It wouldn't be the first time I've heard about it, but now that that particular website has been weaponized, when you go ahead and you come in and have your morning coffee and you see an email from me and you click on that, I have now just infiltrated your network, your machine. In the industry, they call it being pwned, when you have full control over an end user's machine, but also control over their network. So I guess in short, to really answer that question, the reason why these things are really bypassing traditional email security is because hackers are not traditional. They're utilizing new evasion tactics every day, And that's why it's best to go ahead and have somebody on your side to go ahead and be able to protect you against these. Somebody that has their ear to the ground, that knows about the latest hacks, whether it be a Petya Ransomware, just some sort of keylogger or malicious URL. Mimecast is now able to go and protect against that because we utilize our own in-house scanning engines as well as third-party and open source. This way we have the most up-to-date signatures that we can go ahead and scan against as far as any malicious URLs or attachments coming in. But in short, to simply answer your question, that's really it. Evasion tactics are really the reason why traditional security is not able to go ahead and really stand a chance against these new hacking tactics that are coming out nowadays.
Great. Moving on to the next question. So how exactly does Mimecast compare to other solutions?
That's a great question. One thing I would say that Mimecast definitely does different in how we compare. We do have something that is rated, that's industry standard. It's called the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Basically, it's rating email security on a multi-level basis. We've been #1 for the last 2 years, and the reason would be, I would say, is because of our targeted threat protection. We do sandboxing differently in the fact that we actually emulate real computer interaction, such as, you know, somebody typing on a keyboard, somebody moving the mouse, having an active network connection with an actual time frame on it, how long that machine's been powered on, whether or not they have an external display plugged in, whether or not they have a high resolution on their computer screen. These are distinguishable characteristics of being ran on a VM as opposed to an actual machine itself. Now that's just attachment sandboxing, how we do it differently. One of the ways we do the URL protection differently is our ability to go ahead and scan in real time. No matter if we go ahead and we scan at the gateway and we deem the website safe, Mimecast, as you saw from the demonstration previously, we do the scan in real time, just in case somebody was actually weaponizing the website while we were sleeping. So this way when we come in and have our morning coffee, we're still protected. And as far as impersonation goes, as I mentioned, that typosquatting attack, we're one of the only companies that really protect against that, and that's a 5, 6, 7-year-old attack vector right there. But that's how Mimecast really does it different. We just try to stay cutting edge, above the curve, so this way we can go ahead and make sure we provide the best protection as possible. Great question.
Fantastic. All right, so it looks like we've got one more question here, and this seems to always pop up at least once when we discuss ransomware. Do you recommend paying the ransom in your experience?
That's a great question. Well, I'll say this, there's a couple different factors that go into that. The scariest thing that I've heard, let me start off with this. The scariest thing that I heard as of recently was this latest Petya Ransomware. Now, normally, I would say pay it. If the number is not super financially damaging to the company, depending on the scalability, obviously, you know, if you're asking 50 grand ransom from a mom and pop shop, you know what I mean, that's going to possibly put them out of business. They may be better off starting fresh and maybe just revamping their security software at that point. A large, you know, corporation, you know, 50 grand may be nothing. That may not be a problem. And as far as the hackers go, they really try to do their homework on that. They'll go ahead and they'll pull up any of your 401k information that's publicly available, any type of metric that they'll be able to say, hey, we shouldn't ask these guys for 10 grand because they only make a certain amount, you know, per money per year, that their annual revenue. So if they do it in conjunction and really relation to what that company actually makes and their ransom is not too much, I would say traditionally you can go for it. But the scariest thing that I saw lately with this latest Petya ransomware was that people were paying the ransom, but they were not getting their decryption keys. I think the latest ransomware, they wanted 300 Bitcoins. If anybody's up to date on the value of Bitcoin nowadays, you see how expensive it is. If you had bought $10 or $10 worth of Bitcoin, you know, 3-4 years ago, you'd be a semi-rich person today. That's how much it's going up. So when I heard of this story of them not actually keeping up their end of the bargain, that really, it kind of pushes away the fact that we should pay them. I would still stick with my, you know, gut notion that we should not pay it, depending on the financial to, you know, and to versus the revenue that the company actually makes, whatever the demands are. I would say that's probably the main focus. Obviously, some data can cost a little bit more, especially in the healthcare industry. I would say if patient information was leaked, I think, and don't quote me on this, but the payouts for leaked patient information to the individual patient themselves, it's quite high. And for a hospital, if they were to go ahead and leak, I'd imagine, let's say 20, 30, 40 patients' information, not even the whole patient database, that's a heavy payout. That may be better off to go ahead and pay 50 grand as opposed to, let's say, average $1 million a patient. So to answer your question in short, I would say it all depends on what they're asking for the ransom and how much the actual company makes. If it's going to weigh out financially, it's going to be more damaging in the long run, pay the ransom. If not, you can go ahead and start fresh. Great question. That's always a tough question, and that definitely always comes up.
Yes, it always does, and kind of like you said, I've noticed it's always very, very dependent on the situation and what you're facing.
It's definitely a per-case basis. Definitely, Ashley.
Absolutely. Well, I think that is all the questions that we have. So thank you all again for joining us today. Thank you, Lori and Adib, as well. Now, I do have a quick little announcement. We were kind of raffling off an Amazon gift card to our attendees, and it looks like Michael Siska is the winner. We will be sending you an Amazon gift card shortly following this presentation. Thank you again for joining us today. My email and our phone number are also on the screen. If you think of any questions later, or if you would like to schedule maybe doing a little bit more of an in-depth demonstration or something more personal to answer more questions, we can always do that as well. So go ahead and let us know, reach out to us. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all in the next webinar.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.